Good morning. Before we get to today's topic, a couple of other matters. Just want to mention what brought us all together here in Lexington, here in your beautiful jurisdiction. Thank you for your hospitality, Ms. Evans. Today is the conclusion of the annual Prosecutors Conference, which brought together 700 of our colleagues, our county, our Commonwealth's attorneys, brought together some of the best legal talent and some of the best public servants in our Commonwealth. It's been an exciting few days here in Lexington. This three-day conference was an opportunity to build relationships amongst prosecutors, to share best practices, to stay on the cutting edge of keeping our families safe, and to make sure we all had our CLE. As Attorney General, I sat with my colleagues and was so honored to be part of this conference, not only to spend a few moments welcoming folks from the podium, but to be in the seat myself, to work on my CLEs, to broaden my horizons, to spend time in the hallways, meeting some colleagues that I had met, new assistants, new talent joining us, and see a lot of old faces. It's been a great week here, meeting with folks whose reason for getting up in the morning is to protect families, to protect my family. Just some amazing folks. And speaking of protecting families, I want to pause for just a moment this morning, a bit off topic, but I want us to pause and honor a fallen police officer. We lost a fine officer in Paducah. Sergeant Ryan Hudson lost his life just a few days ago in the midst of a very difficult homicide investigation, in the midst of the loss of a mom and a pregnant mom and her child. And so it's not necessarily what brought us all together for this press conference, but it is what brings us together this week. It is the through line of those sitting on my left and my right, and it's about service to this Commonwealth. So I would like for us to, and if you all would please stand, for a moment, I would like to just take a moment of silence and honor Sergeant Ryan Hudson, Paducah Police Department end of watch, August 8th, I'll get this right, end of watch, 8/12/2025, August 12th, 2025, just last weekend. So let's pause for a moment and honor Sergeant Ryan Hudson. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Today I am proud to announce Kentucky's first ever Child Support Advisory Council. Now, as you know, the Kentucky General Assembly gave the office to the Attorney General, before I served in the office of the Attorney General, gave the office a no-fail mission, and I want to pause on that notion. The General Assembly gave me as Attorney General, and those men and women sitting on my left and my right, a no-fail mission to have responsibility for Kentucky's child support services. For more than a year, and let's go back even before I took the oath, I met with some of those sitting in these chairs 6 months before I was elected as Attorney General. It speaks to the proactivity of some of the county attorneys in this room to start talking about this issue. They approached me when I was a candidate. But as Attorney General, we have spent a year and a half in a transition for this massive change, this transition of a program into our office from what had previously been located in the Cabinet for Health and Family Services, CHFS. Now, in taking on this mission as directed by the General Assembly, our office, the Attorney General's office, nearly doubled in size. We took on 220,000 cases with this transition from the Cabinet, and responsibility for collecting more than $336 million in uncollected child support. I'm proud to say that we have had a smooth transition. This process of preparing to take on this effort became very real, not only the day that I took oath, but on July 1 is when the General Assembly technically handed over this massive no-fail mission to the Office of the Attorney General, and we've had a smooth transition thus far. Our goal was for families to not notice. Our goal was to not make news on July 1st, but for the checks to arrive, for the technology to work, for Kentuckians not to know that there had been a significant transition in state government, one of the most significant matters of reorganization, I would say, in the last decade to 2 decades in state government. This successful transition, it didn't happen, it didn't, in lawyers' terms, it wasn't self-actualizing. This happened in large part to some amazing public servants. It happened in large part to a woman sitting to my left, our brand new, first ever, in the history of state government, in the history of the Attorney General's office, first ever Chief of Child Support Services. This is a weighty role, and that was carried by the woman, the great public servant and lawyer sitting to my left, Amy Burke, and the team that she has put together. You'll hear more of here in just a moment. I want to publicly thank Amy for the fire in her belly for this mission. I want to publicly thank Amy for her give-a-damn in serving our kids. It matters who serves in these roles. And in Kentucky history, it matters to me as Attorney General that the first ever Chief of Child Support Services is this fine public servant, Amy Burke. Now that we've stood up the Attorney General's Department of Child Support Services, we have some serious challenges to address. Now, the program operates as we inherited it. It operates with some pretty antiquated technology, built back at a time when dial-up was novel. This is Atari-level technology that is running this very important system. We have started a major modernization effort. There is currently over $1 billion in uncollected, unpaid child support using Atari-level, DOS-level technology. Think about that, $1 billion with a B of money that should be in the hands of kids that need it, relying on technology that some of us, the older, let's say more aged of us, pre-Nintendo level, played Atari on. This is concern tongue-in-cheek about the Atari level technology, but it's not a joking matter. It is a tottering system that we've inherited, and we're in the midst of modernizing that. Now, we're shaking off this bureaucracy. The goal and the mandate from the General Assembly that we streamline this effort, and that's exactly what we're doing in the structure that I'm announcing here today. You know, any one of these challenges would be daunting. You know, so we've decided to turn to the experts to help us with it. I've been Attorney General long enough to know, and lived in Kentucky long enough to know that not all good ideas come from Frankfurt. So it only made sense to turn to the men and women on the front lines of the child support process, the men and women who serve in our county attorney's offices, those that serve with compassion, those that know their own counties, they know their own jurisdictions much more than a bureaucratic entity here in Frankfurt. So we're turning to these dedicated county attorneys. You know, they come from counties large and counties small, from communities in our mountains to those down in the Purchase region in the Jackson Purchase. The through line, though, is they all share a common commitment to serving our kids and improving and strengthening the financial stability of Kentucky families. Today, it is my privilege as Attorney General to announce the first ever Child Support Advisory Council, and it will include the following. Clay County Attorney, and for a moment, when I announce your name, if you please stand. Clay County Attorney Joe Wright. Joe White, sorry, I apologize, Joe. Someone that not only is respected within his county attorney community, but someone that I was honored served on my transition team, gave us a lot of wisdom and a lot of counsel. And Joe, thank you for that. Even though I butchered your last name, our friendship and that respect is certainly there, Joe. So thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Our host this week Fayette County Attorney Angela Evans. Ms. Evans? Angela is relatively newly elected, but someone that immediately gained the respect of her colleagues, stepped into a very large effort, our second largest county attorney's office, and has been a great colleague to me since I took office, and our teams have worked very closely together. I've been the beneficiary of some of those that previously worked in your team, and I'm grateful. I'm grateful for that. This program is built partially on the knowledge of those coming from Fayette County, so I appreciate that, ma'am. Thank you very much. Grayson County Attorney Jeremy Logston, someone very well respected in West Kentucky, someone that I've known for a number of years, and I'm grateful that he's willing to take on this additional effort. Thank you so much, Mr. Logston. Someone that is no stranger, as we joked a moment ago, no stranger to press conferences, no stranger to public service, who has spent decades as a prosecutor and as a judge, someone that has a deep well of experience and runs one of the largest child support services effort in our Commonwealth, runs that very well. Someone that we're learning from, I learn from regularly anytime we engage. That is Jefferson County Attorney Mike O'Connell. Thank you, sir, for taking on this additional effort. I'm grateful. Someone that is no shrinking violet on any issue, with just a well of experience and that deep sense of calling and desire to serve. Someone that was in the group of county attorneys that sat down with me, I think first of all in Hardin County, 6-8 months before I was elected Attorney General. I'm grateful that Kenton County Attorney Stacy Tapke will be leading in this effort as well. Thank you so much for your expertise. Logan County Attorney Joe Ross is someone that not only I'm honored to have on this council, but was honored here amongst his colleagues for his expertise and just for his showing up. You know, showing up matters. Showing up at inconvenient times, not only for his constituents, which he does so well in Logan County, but showing up and offering his expertise on issues, challenging issues, on behalf of the county attorneys as the County Attorneys Association president, but also was honored by his colleagues this week, and it was my privilege to present him with the County Attorney a Year. I'm personally grateful to have you on this team and have you here, sir. Thank you. Thank you, General. And then Madison County Attorney Jenny Heyman is someone we're going to hear from in a moment. She candidly shared with me that this is her first press conference a moment ago, and it surprised me because of just how polished she is behind podiums like this. We saw this at the conference this week. But on the other hand, it didn't surprise me because she spends her time as a workhorse and not a show horse. Showing up for her constituents and showing up for county attorneys. And this effort. Marshall County Attorney Jason Darnell couldn't be here. He had a long-standing family commitment. My hat's off to him, and I'm grateful for his willingness to serve, and will be the beneficiary of having him on this team. McCracken County Attorney Kate Foster is someone that joined us not only from the courtroom, but is someone that's very adept on the at wearing the jersey of a University of Alabama football player, brings that competitiveness, brings that team mentality to this environment, brings that desire to serve, that fire that he once brought to the gridiron, brings it to serving the people of McCracken County, and I'm grateful to have you on this team and as part of this effort. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. And then finally, Spencer County Attorney Corey Thomas is one of the more thoughtful prosecutors I've had the opportunity to get to know in that dual role, serving both the fiscal court and as a prosecutor in a rapidly growing county that he wouldn't want to be known as the suburbs of Louisville, but is becoming the suburbs of Louisville. It's a county that he has 1 foot in rural Kentucky and 1 foot in suburbia, and he brings a great, very thoughtful perspective in that and runs a great program. So grateful to have you on this team. By drawing on their expertise and years of experience, we can be good stewards and responsible in delivering, getting those checks where they need to go, but also be innovative for this program's future. You know, I'd like to personally thank each of these leaders for agreeing to take on this additional responsibility, additional effort. Now, make no mistake, they have full plates already, and we're asking them to take on additional travel, to take on additional efforts, additional meetings, additional Zooms. But they deeply care about this program, and I appreciate their willingness to do that on behalf of our kids at the end of the day, who are the beneficiaries and who suffer when the system is broken. Now, I'd like to call someone up here who is a real tip of the spear of this effort. Even before this transition, Amy Burke put thousands of miles on her vehicle. She visited, I believe, 110 of the 120 counties. She visited every one of the 110 county attorneys who were engaged in this child support process. Not because I asked her to, but because she knew that we need to show up. She knew that us, as the Office of the Attorney General, we're not the AG just for Franklin County or the Golden Triangle, that we need to show up and we needed to listen. And it's one of the things I respect about Amy Burke is she didn't show up to talk. She showed up to hear what was going on in these counties and how we can improve this system and how here today based on the county attorneys. So with that, I'm proud to announce the Office of the Attorney General's first ever Chief of Child Support, Amy Burke, will join us here.
Thanks to all of you all that have partnered. Thank you all very much. What we embarked on more than a year ago was a tremendous task. And as you just heard, the no-fail mission. He said that a lot, and I know when General Coleman says that, he means children of Kentucky. A massive operation in which thousands of families depended upon us. It's why we spent a lot of time listening. It's why I spent a lot of time listening, asking questions, a lot of time driving to all the beautiful town squares throughout this Commonwealth, actually all those miles, seeing Western Kentucky, Eastern Kentucky, Northern Kentucky, all the different parts of Kentucky and all the lovely communities that are in Kentucky and the lovely people. So we built relationships with county attorneys and their child support staffs. They welcomed us in with open arms, gave us a lot of things that were on their mind, and helped us and shared how they do this incredibly important work every single day. It would have been very easy to come away from those meetings overwhelmed by the sheer size of the problem, and there were days where I did curl up in a ball and think, what in the world? This one program, child support, involves the largest federal bureaucracy, state government, local elected officials, judiciary, sheriffs, so many people. We could have just thrown our hands up, said it's too difficult, we can't improve upon it. We could have just acquiesced and said we'll just keep doing it how it's been done. But that's not how we sort of roll at the Office of Attorney General. But instead, I came away convinced. I was inspired by these public servants, inspired by the case specialists who have dedicated their profession, their careers to this work. It made me want to work harder, and it made me want to improve upon this program. It makes me want to have Kentucky have the finest child support program in the United States. The General, our team, and the partners you see here have one goal: to ensure that Kentucky's kids are taken care of. What we're announcing today, this Child Support Advisory Council, it's so critical to this mission. The council provides not only additional input from our partners, but that sort of local mastery, that on-the-ground look into operations big, like Jefferson County, small like Clay County, all across the Commonwealth. These are the experts on the ground. They and their staffs are the people who go to the grocery store with those that they serve, see the children at school with their children, and they are the experts in their which are all very different as you go in and around the state. I'm so looking forward to working with them, drawing on their expertise as we carry out this mission and we serve Kentucky families. Thank you.
Now I want you to hear from one of those experts that Chief Burke just described. We're grateful to have her here. We're grateful to have her as a colleague, and I would like to ask my colleague from Madison County, Jenny Heyman, to come join us. Now, as she's coming up, I want to pause on something that you heard if you'd spent any time in the hallways here in Lexington over the last few days, this notion of calling amongst prosecutors. These are all lawyers that could be in the private sector, could be making a lot more money doing other things, but there is this notion of calling. These men and women feel called to be prosecutors, to see things that they will never unsee, smell things they'll never unsmell, spend time with victims at the worst day or worst time of their lives. Ms. Heyman wanted to be a prosecutor, felt this calling since she was 12 years old. She has been a perfect fit for public service. First elected in 2018, she wasted no time in making a name for herself amongst her colleagues based upon that fire in the belly, that calling, that sense of service. She was named the 2023, now remember, just elected in 2018. A few short years later, she was named the 2023 Outstanding County Attorney of the Year. And she currently serves as the Vice President of the Kentucky County Attorneys Association. She brings expertise, compassion, and what's very important to us in the Attorney General's office, zealous collaboration. She'll bring that zealous collaboration to her role on the council. Please join me in welcoming Jenny Heyman.
Well, since he did call me out on my first press conference, the pressure's on. But I do want to thank you, Attorney General Coleman, for giving me the opportunity to serve on this council with my fellow colleagues. But also, we want to thank you for your continued support for county attorneys and all that we do. As the Madison County Attorney, along with, as my fellow colleagues would also say, child support is a big part of our office. On average, we handle approximately 4,500 cases a year, and that caseload requires long hours. But I am blessed to have a dedicated staff. In fact, through their hard work, combined with some alternative collections, we were able to, just a couple months ago, collect $40,000 in a single case to pay off that case. That's not just dollars. That was support for a mother and her 2 children that have gone years without. So I appreciate all that they do, not just for me and my office, but for the kids in Kentucky. On most days, child support can be frustrating, we all know this, and sometimes even heartbreaking. But that day, that was a good day. And today is another good day. We're so grateful to have a colleague like Attorney General Coleman leading the effort, not like Attorney General Coleman, to have Attorney General Coleman. We're so grateful for him. And every person gathered here today who shares the common goal that we want to make things better for Kentucky's kids. Under the leadership of General Coleman and Chief Amy Burke, and with the shared knowledge and experience of my fellow county attorneys, we will make that happen. We all have different approaches, a lot due to the different size of our counties. Madison County has an appear and pay docket. It's a monthly docket we use to try to reduce the incarceration of parents, but still assist them in being successful in making their child support payments. Now, it's not the norm in all the counties, but it's worked for Madison County, and we average about 400 people on that docket each month. It points to the fact that there are innovative and better ways to operate child support services. Collaboration and cooperation to share these ideas is the mission of this council. And I'm so grateful to have the opportunity to share Madison County successes with the rest of Kentucky, but also humbled to be able to learn from my fellow colleagues' successes as well. All to make things better for kids in Kentucky. So thank you again, Attorney General Coleman, and I'll turn the podium back over to you.
many of you have had the opportunity to go to the state fair, and if you haven't, certainly make it in near term. Our Commissioner of Agriculture, Jonathan Shell, yesterday in his remarks, the ham breakfast, said if you get frustrated with the divisiveness of what you see on your phone, or that R's and D's are punching themselves in the mouth, go out and see those kids from FFA, go out and see those farm families, go out and see them working together, how they interact, and it'll give you faith in the next generation. It will inspire you. I would add one more exemplar to that. If you're frustrated with what you're seeing on your phones and what you're scrolling, what we're doing here today is tearing down bureaucracy. What we're doing here today is tearing down the provincialism. Sometimes our county lines might as well have walls built because of our lack of collaboration. What you're seeing here is zealous collaboration from the mountains to far west Kentucky down in the Purchase. You're seeing Republicans work with Democrats. There are R's and D's sitting next to me that are adding more work to their plate to try to bring a more effective system here in our Commonwealth. What you see is bureaucracy being torn down. You see our General Assembly given a tough task to the Office of the Attorney General, and you are seeing amazing men and women innovative, taking on more work, working across the aisle and working across county lines. And I could not be more excited about this new effort as the Attorney General. This is a no-fail mission. You're going to see an improved child support system here. I'm excited to announce that here today as your AG. And with that, I want to conclude and take any questions. There are no questions, so it is a privilege to stand here with these men and women. I want to thank you for joining us here today.